quick DIY here just to show how to retrofit the 993 headlights with the CB&D HID kit. Alright, so to get started here, I'm assuming that you've already removed the headlights from the vehicle. Hardware that you need for each headlight is a bracket, 4 spacers, 4 bolts, and 4 nylocks. No oven, no baking, no nothing. So we're going to go ahead and start by taking this, flip this up, drop it back out, and we're going to move this out of the way because we don't need it right now. Inside of the headlight itself, there are a bunch of T20 torque security bits. So hopefully the camera can focus there and you can see it. There is one that's here, there is one in this corner, and there's another in this corner here. I'll see if I can get a better shot of that. So there's the one that's there. A little bit harder to see, but there's one down there, and finally there's one over there. So again, I'm going to take my T20 security bit on my extension, and I'm going to be very mindful because there's actually these red spacers that are under this that you don't want to lose. There's only 2 per headlight. And again, that's why the importance of the microfiber. Make sure you're not scratching anything up. And again, make sure you're keeping in mind of where exactly those spaces are because we're going to need them a little bit later. Last piece of hardware right here. Okay, so now that we've removed the hardware, you could do this before, but I'm just doing it now. We're just going to go ahead and remove the power and the ground from the factory projector. And with those removed, the way to get this projector is actually pretty nice. So you're going to take it, you just want to tilt it down, and then once you have it tilted down, you just want to basically pull it out. So I'll show you one more time here. So basically you'll take the projector, take it out, you will just pull it back, tilt it down, and then it comes right out. Alright, we're going to prepare our projector to install. So again, you have the Micro D2S projector. This is a bi-xenon projector, which means it does both the low beam and the high beam. And to prepare this, these are actually T20s, so you don't need any other hardware. So just take the T20s, put each one through, put that spacer on there, put a spacer on there, and then do the same thing for the other 2. And when you do get them down, don't tighten them all the way because you do want to leave a little loose. So go for them. Alright, now that you have them here, take the high beam plug, and you'll want to take these and just line all 4 up. It should just drop in for you. And again, leaving them loose makes sure that's easy enough to do. Once you got those all in there, take your nylocks, put your nylocks in, all 4 of them. And again, but now once these are in, you can take the T20 that you've been using this whole time and finish tightening these up. Make sure you got the hole as you're tightening all up. Alright, now that you got those all tightened up, we're going to take this off, and we're going to grab a 7mm on here. Same thing, we're going to tighten these up here. Alright, now if you take this, you compare it to the factory projector, Lengthwise, we're good. Position-wise, we're good as well. Okay. So to get these back into the headlight, there's actually something a little bit different that we need to do than when we're removing it. So just be very careful when doing this, but you're going to want to actually get the lens off of here. And huge shout out to Sean for letting me use his headlight as a part of this DIY. So thank you, Sean. Okay, so now we got that split apart. We can set that aside over there. And we're just going to have this headlight open here just like that. So in order to get the new projector in, it's the same way that we took the old one out. So instead of tilting it back, you're actually going to tilt it in, twist it in there, and it drops right in. So move the wiring out of the way. And then the reason I actually had you guys remove the lens is because this rubber spacer is a pain to get in here if you don't get it if you don't actually remove this first. So try to show this here. What you want to do is with your hand over here, you want to take the rubber spacer, put it in place, and then set the projector onto it. And it takes a little bit of finagling to get it, but it's much easier to do with the headlight off than with the headlight on. And then you'll take your screw, and we'll drop that in place. Okay, so we've got the first one in. We'll take the same thing. Take the second spacer, put it under here. This one's much easier to do because there's actually some alignment tabs that help you out. Take this one, put it here. And again, don't tighten these yet. You'll wait till you're all the way done. And finally, put the top left bolt in, top right bolt in. There's no spacer. And hand tighten these. All right. Can't even tell that we replaced it. Sweet. So now that your projector is in, you can just give it probably a little bit of a turn. Doesn't need to be super tight. You're not trying to strip it out. You're just trying to get it tight enough that it won't back out. So that's just about tight enough. Now we're ready to put our lens back onto the headlight and move on to our wiring. So we'll line all these back up, and we're good to go. Right back into our wiring. So for the wiring for these, there's a couple of different options that you can choose, but you'll need to make sure that you drill a hole through this. Not going to do this because this actually isn't my headlight, but with the provided grommet, you can use a step drill bit and then it'll fit right here. So this is the area right here where you'll want to drill a hole for the grommet. But let's go ahead and get our bulb and everything else installed so we can be on our way. So from here, to install the bulb, because then this is an important part of the wiring, you take the bulb and you'll put it in here. And then we'll take our O-ring, put the O-ring in here, and then we'll take the lock ring and we will lock the bulb in place. All right, now that it's tight, this is where you would normally drill your hole through here to pass this through your grommet, but as this is not my headlight, I won't do that. But you'll take this, and this is for your igniter. And then to provide power and ground for this, there are your power and ground connections that are in your headlight. Your power is going to be your white. So you'll take your white and you'll put it basically right into there. And your ground, there's a couple of ways that you can do it. If you're not comfortable using the Wago connector, you can just take this, slide it onto there, and then that'll be your ground connection. And then once that's like that, I highly recommend just taking some electrical tape and really tightening that down and using some pliers and crimping those down. That way, if you ever wanted to go back to your factory, it'd be much easier. The other option that I do highly recommend is to use this Wago connector. So what you'll do with the Wago connector is you'll take this wire, strip it back, and then once you have stripped it back, you'll take this and you'll slide it into here, close that, and then same thing, you'll cut this wire here, take it, lock it into here, and then this will be this connection for the ground. So that's the power and ground connection for your ballasts. To power your ballasts, what you'll want to do is take this and plug this in here, this way in this direction. Again, you should see plus and minus. Again, your power should be your white, your ground will be your black, as we have them connected there. And then again, these should be all passed through the cap that's on the back here, and then you'll pass these through inside of here. You'll plug in both sides of your amp connectors for your ballasts, and that is your connections for the HID projector. So now we'll go through and just reviewing those again, those HID connections again. So you want to take your white connector, plug it in here, just basically just take that and slide it into there. And your ground connection, you can take it and slide it there. Again, highly recommend taking some electrical tape or just using the Wago nut, the lever nut that's provided to take care of that, and plugging in both of your connections for your amp ballast. If you want to, at this point, you could just test all of this, make sure it's all working, just to be sure before you go on to the next step. It's actually plugging in the high beam. So I'm going to take these and disconnect them just to make it a little bit easier to see the work that we're about to do here to get the high beams wired in. Alright, so wiring in the high beams is actually pretty simple. So the projector itself will come with this Molex connector, and it will come with this Molex adapter. You'll take the Molex adapter, plug that in here. So in addition to these high beam splitters, you'll see those Molex adapters. And what that Molex adapter is just to make sure that it uses a 9006 connection. So you'll take that, and you'll plug that in here. That'll be all good to go there. And what you'll want to do is unplug the power and ground from the high beam bulb, the H1 high beam bulb that's in here. Just be gentle when removing them. Alright, so I got those connectors removed. So we'll need a set of pliers to pull out the high beam connection ground, and this is the power connection. So once you have those disconnected and you have your high beam splitter here, what you'll do is, and the orientation of this doesn't matter, but just for consistency's sake, we'll plug the ground, we'll plug the power, which is the blue, with the blue, and we'll take this brown, and you'll need to use some pliers to open these up ever so slightly and slide this into here, because it is a tight connection that you don't want to remove. So again, you'll take the brown and you'll plug it to this black that's here, and again, you'll need to either grind these down or open this up to get that onto there. The other thing you'll need to do once you have that connected in, you'll take these two. Again, polarity doesn't matter here, but for consistency's sake, if you like, you'll take this black connector and you'll plug it in to the ground connection, which is at the bottom of here, and you'll take the power connection and you'll plug it to the power for the high beam bulb itself. Alright, so I just want to get one final quick shot just to show the final high beam wiring. So as you can see, the high beam splitter is plugged into both the low beam and the high beam, and then you've got it plugged into the Molex connector, which is here, and then you have your high beam power, which is your white, and your ground here, which is your brown. And again, I just use pliers to make that a little bit wider so that could slide onto there. And pretty much all of that will just go into the housing. Let me show you 1 second here. But to do that, I'm just going to remove this power connection for the ballast. But essentially, you just want to take all of this, put it all in here. And then you can take the back cap, slide it back on here. It's all sealed up. Aside from, again, the wiring for the HID, which will come through the grommet, and the connection for the ballast that I showed earlier. If you have any questions, give me a call, give me a message, but otherwise, that was the DIY for the HID retrofit on the 993. Take it easy.